What if I told you that Easter, the holiday you celebrated as a child hunting chocolate eggs in your pajamas, has one of the darkest, strangest, and most bizarre histories of any celebration on Earth? The Easter Bunny was originally a terrifying pagan deity. Easter eggs were originally painted with blood, and the egg hunt you loved as a child. It started as a fertility ritual so inappropriate it would make your grandmother blush. And by the end of this video, you will never look at a chocolate bunny the same way again. Wait for number 15, because the most beloved Easter tradition was invented by a single bored Victorian woman on a Tuesday afternoon. Let's descend into 15 weirdest Easter facts that will ruin your childhood. Fact number 1. The Easter Bunny was a pagan goddess. That adorable, fluffy bunny delivering chocolate eggs to children. Originally a shape-shifting pagan deity of dawn, fertility and spring named Eostra. According to legend, Eostra found a wounded bird dying in the snow. To save it, she transformed it into a rabbit. But the transformation was incomplete. The rabbit retained the ability to lay eggs, which it would decorate and give to Eostra as gifts each spring. The early Christian church was furious about people celebrating a pagan goddess. So they did what they always did. They absorbed the tradition, renamed the holiday, and hoped nobody would notice. Nobody noticed for about 1,500 years. So every time you put a chocolate bunny in your child's Easter basket, you're technically honoring an ancient Germanic fertility goddess who turned a dying bird into a magical egg-laying rabbit. Fact number 2. Hot cross buns were illegal. Hot cross buns. Soft, spiced, sweet, with a little cross on top. The most innocent Easter treat imaginable. Completely illegal in 16th century England. Queen Elizabeth I's government passed a law in 1592 banning the sale of spiced buns except on Good Friday, Christmas, and at burials. Why? Because the government was convinced that hot cross buns had magical powers. People believed they could cure illness, prevent shipwrecks, and protect houses from fire. Bakers were selling them year-round as magical talismans. The government decided this was dangerously superstitious and needed to stop immediately. Bakers who violated the law had their entire stock confiscated and distributed to the poor. So the next time you eat a hot cross bun, remember, you're eating something the British government once considered so magically dangerous it required legislation to control. Fact number 3. Easter eggs were painted with blood. Before chocolate eggs, before colour kits, before the pastel colours you remember from childhood, Easter eggs had a significantly more disturbing origin story. According to one of the oldest Easter traditions, Mary Magdalene was carrying a basket of eggs to the tomb of Jesus. When she arrived and witnessed the resurrection, the eggs in her basket miraculously turned red. Early Christians adopted the tradition of painting eggs red to represent the blood of Christ. In parts of Eastern Europe, this tradition survived for centuries. Families would paint eggs using actual blood from farm animals slaughtered for the Easter feast. The red Easter egg tradition is still practiced today in Greek Orthodox communities, though thankfully using red dye rather than actual blood. So those cheerful red Easter eggs you might have seen, originally a symbol of crucifixion blood. Happy hunting. Fact number 4. The egg hunt was a fertility ritual. Children running around gardens finding hidden eggs seems perfectly innocent. Adorable, even. It was not always adorable. The original egg hunt tradition traces back to ancient spring fertility festivals where eggs were hidden across fields and forests as offerings to fertility deities. Finding an egg was considered a sign of divine blessing, specifically a blessing of fertility and reproduction. The more eggs you found, the more fertile you would supposedly be. Adults participated enthusiastically. The whole community participated, for reasons that had absolutely nothing to do with chocolate. When Christianity absorbed the spring festivals, the egg hunt came along for the ride, stripped of its original meaning and repackaged as a wholesome children's activity. So the next time you watch children excitedly collecting Easter eggs, just know that the original participants were hoping for something entirely different from the experience. Stay with me because what's coming next gets significantly weirder. We're about to discover why Easter Sunday changes date every year, why Judas gets beaten with sticks in some countries, and why one nation celebrates Easter by throwing water at women. Fact number 5. Easter date changes every year. Easter is the most important date in the Christian calendar. You'd think someone would have nailed down exactly when it falls. They have not. Easter Sunday is calculated as the first Sunday after the first full moon after the spring equinox. This formula was established at the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD and has caused arguments ever since. The result is that Easter can fall anywhere between March 22nd and April 25th, a 5-week window of uncertainty that makes planning family gatherings a logistical nightmare. It gets worse. Eastern Orthodox Christians use a different calendar entirely, meaning Orthodox Easter often falls weeks after Western Easter. So the most important day in Christianity doesn't have a fixed date, changes every year, and different branches of the same religion celebrate it on completely different days. Nobody can agree when Jesus rose from the dead. Scheduling was apparently not a priority. Fact number 6. Judas burning and beating traditions. While most of the world celebrates Easter with chocolate and church services, several countries have developed significantly more aggressive traditions. In Greece, Mexico, Brazil, and parts of Latin America, communities construct large effigies of Judas Iscariot, the apostle who betrayed Jesus, and spend Easter weekend beating them with sticks, setting them on fire, and in some cases, blowing them up with fireworks. In some Greek villages, the Judas effigy is stuffed with fireworks and exploded in the town square, while the entire community cheers. In Mexico, the burning of Judas has become so elaborate that effigies are sometimes made to resemble unpopular politicians, corrupt officials, or local figures the community wants to symbolically destroy. It's essentially a government-approved annual effigy burning festival disguised as religious observance. Judas has been burned, beaten, and exploded every Easter for centuries. He probably deserved it. Fact number 7. Hungarian water throwing. In Hungary, Easter Monday is celebrated with a tradition called vízbevető, which translates roughly as water throwing. Men and boys spend Easter Monday throwing water at women and girls. Traditionally, this meant buckets of cold water thrown without warning. In rural areas, women were sometimes thrown directly into wells or ponds. The tradition supposedly brings good luck, health, and fertility to the women who get soaked. The women, for their part, are expected to thank the men who drench them and offer them painted eggs and alcohol in return. Modern Hungary has toned this down considerably. Most people now use small amounts of perfume or cologne rather than full buckets of water. But in some rural villages, the bucket tradition survives enthusiastically. So if you're planning an Easter trip to rural Hungary, pack a waterproof jacket. And maybe don't be a woman. Fact number 8. Easter Island coincidence. Easter Island, one of the most remote and mysterious places on Earth, home to the famous Moai statues, has absolutely nothing to do with Easter. It was named Easter Island purely because Dutch explorer Jacob Roggeveen happened to arrive there on Easter Sunday, April 5th, 1722. That's it. That's the entire reason. He could have arrived on any other day of the year, and it would be called something completely different. The indigenous people called it Rapa Nui. They had their own name, their own culture, their own incredibly sophisticated civilization that had nothing whatsoever to do with European Easter traditions. But Roggeveen showed up on a Sunday in April, thought, I should name this after today. And now one of the world's most mysterious archaeological sites is forever associated with chocolate eggs and bunny rabbits. History is sometimes just a matter of timing. Hold on, because the next facts get even more bizarre. We're about to uncover the real reason we eat lamb at Easter, why Easter was almost completely banned in America, and the genuinely disturbing origin of the Easter parade. Fact number 9. Easter lamb tradition. Easter lamb, a beautiful symbol of innocence, renewal, and spring. Families gather around a roast lamb dinner feeling warm and festive. The symbolism is considerably less warm when you understand the original context. The Easter lamb directly references the Passover sacrifice, the slaughter of a perfect, unblemished lamb whose blood was painted on doorposts to protect Hebrew families from the angel of death. Early Christians adopted the lamb as a symbol of Jesus, the sacrificial lamb whose blood provided salvation. For centuries, the Easter lamb wasn't just a dinner, it was a deliberate, symbolic reenactment of blood sacrifice. In many Eastern European countries, the tradition was even more literal. Families would slaughter their own lamb on Good Friday, collect the blood, and use it in various Easter rituals. So your Easter lamb dinner is actually a symbolic blood sacrifice. Enjoy your roast potatoes. Fact number 10. Easter banned in America. The Puritans, who founded much of early America, had strong opinions about religious celebrations. Specifically, they hated them. Christmas was banned in Massachusetts from 1659 to 1681. Easter received similar treatment. The Puritans viewed Easter celebrations, the eggs, the feasting, the spring festivities, as dangerously pagan. They pointed out correctly that many Easter traditions had pre-Christian origins. In Puritan communities, Easter Sunday was observed with church services and nothing else. No eggs, no feasting, no celebrations. Definitely no bunnies. The holiday only became widely celebrated in America after waves of German and Irish immigration in the 19th century brought their Easter traditions with them. So the Easter you grew up celebrating, with egg hunts and chocolate and Easter baskets, was essentially imported by immigrants whose traditions the original American settlers would have considered heretical. America almost had no Easter at all. Fact number 11. Easter Parade origin. The Easter Parade, immortalized in songs, films, and New York City tradition, sounds like a joy. Sweden has a significantly more interesting approach. Swedish children dress as witches, complete with headscarves, long skirts, and painted rosy cheeks, and go door to door in their neighborhoods, offering drawings and paintings in exchange for sweets. This tradition, called påskkärringar, or Easter witches, comes from an old Swedish belief that witches flew to a mountain called Blåkulla on the Thursday before Easter to dance with the devil. Communities would light bonfires to scare the witches away on their return journey. The bonfire tradition evolved into fireworks. The witch fear evolved into children dressing as witches and collecting candy. Sweden essentially invented Halloween 200 years before America did, called it Easter, and then forgot about it. Fact number 14. Easter basket origin. The Easter basket, filled with chocolate eggs, candy, and small toys, is one of the most recognizable symbols of modern Easter. Its origin is considerably less commercial. In medieval Catholic Europe, families would prepare baskets of food, bread, eggs, ham, cheese, and salt, and bring them to church on Holy Saturday to be blessed by the priest before the Easter feast. The blessing was considered essential. Eating unblessed Easter food was considered spiritually dangerous. The tradition was so important that priests would spend hours blessing basket after basket brought by their entire congregation. When the tradition traveled to America with European immigrants, the religious blessing aspect gradually disappeared. The basket remained. The food was replaced with candy and toys. The chocolate egg replaced the blessed ham. Nobody asked why. Everyone just accepted that a rabbit had filled it overnight. Fact number 15. Chocolate egg invention. And here's number 15, the one that will make you question everything. The chocolate Easter egg, the centerpiece of modern Easter celebrations, the thing children look forward to most, the tradition that feels ancient and sacred, was invented in 1873 by the Fry's Chocolate Company in Bristol, England. Not by ancient tradition, not by religious custom, not by centuries of cultural practice, by a chocolate company that needed to move product. John Cadbury improved on Fry's design in 1875 and began mass marketing chocolate eggs specifically for Easter. Within decades, the chocolate egg had become so central to Easter celebrations that most people assumed it had always been there. It had been there for less than 50 years. The most beloved Easter tradition was invented by a Victorian chocolate salesman who needed to boost his quarterly sales figures. The Easter Bunny works for big chocolate. He always has. Stay with me because this will change how you see every Easter Sunday from now on. Because the real question isn't how these traditions got so weird, it's why we never thought to ask where they came from in the first place. 15 facts, 15 Easter traditions with origins nobody told you about. The Easter Bunny was a pagan goddess. Hot cross buns were illegal. Original eggs were painted with blood. Egg hunts were fertility rituals. Easter was never what you thought it was. It was always weirder. If this video changed how you see Easter Sunday now, hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment. Which fact shocked you most? Share this video with your family before Easter dinner. Watch their faces change as they realize what they're actually celebrating. Next video, we are uncovering 15 gangsters too dumb for organized crime and 15 technologies buried to keep you dependent. You don't want to miss it. Subscribe, comment, share, and remember, every tradition was weird before it became normal. See you in the shadows.